Dun, 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 dun. We grew up to this.
That was Bird
You're
Magic
taking
days.
that away from us? We have to, grown men, I'm 46 years old, I got 4 kids, I want to sit and watch a game. You want me to hear this bullshit? Get the, no, we're not watching this.
Welcome to the WWII podcast. I'm your host, Chris Wright, where we discuss politics, entertainment, sports, and social media. So today I'm going to talk about the NBA, what the problems are with the ratings, what the problem is with America actually liking the NBA. The golden era of Michael Jordan is over. And a lot of that has to do with wokeness and political correctness and just the inmates running the asylum, I'll say. And we're also going to talk about who are Black people's allies in America. And then lastly, we'll end this with my take on the new movie with Kerry Washington, Tyler Perry's 688. So we'll talk about that. But I want to get into the NBA. So the other day I did a TikTok. And I was just wondering, I was like, wow, I don't know how many games into the season we are. I'm not a casual NBA fan. I love basketball. I love the NBA. I've had no interest in it this year. And I kind of blamed it on the WNBA. It was so intense. Not just the sport of the WNBA, but all the talk around it, the racism, the Caitlin Clark, the discussion about white privilege, it was just so much. And I think when the season ended, I just wanted to step away from basketball for a while. And I really thought that the NBA came in without much fanfare, without a bang. And I really couldn't put my finger on it. And then I heard something by Colin Cowherd, and he was just talking about that Commissioner Adam Silver has pretty much destroyed this league. But here was my TikTok. And if you want to catch me on TikTok, it's Chris B. Wise, just like, the BWise podcast. You'll see the same logo, but check me out on TikTok and follow me. I'll definitely follow you back. But this was my TikTok.
Y'all watching the NBA? I'm not watching the NBA this year. It's not, I don't have anything against the NBA, but it's weird. It's like after the WNBA season with all the drama, the race talk, the politics, the Caitlin Clark, it was like the NBA just came in anticlimactic. It was like, and I was like, okay. And then if you look at the records, everybody's like, there's a lot of parody going on, and they're like hoisting up 63 pointers a game. NBA, after that WNBA season, it's just like the NBA is just it's not hitting anymore. And LeBron, as much as I love him, he's still the face of the league. Like, man's 40 years old. Where's the up and coming newcomers? Like, I thought Anthony Edwards was going to take over. I thought, what's the dude's name on the Spurs? I can't, where's Giannis? Where's all these people that were supposed to, man, Silver, you got to do something, man. The NBA is just not doing it. It's flat. I don't see any content creators on this app. Maybe it's because my algorithm is not showing me NBA content creators. But I'm not seeing anybody really talk about the NBA. Y'all watching the NBA? I'm not doing it.
So, yeah, I was thinking about Victor Wembanyama when I talked about the young guy on the Spurs. But that TikTok, I was really talking about the product. I was talking about all the 3-pointers being shot. The load management. People are just tired of paying for tickets. And the NBA tickets are so expensive. Concessions are expensive. You can't take a family of 4 to an NBA game without spending $1,000. I mean, if you got it like that, kudos, but it's definitely not for the middle class, even though the middle class goes and they just splurge. But the product is just not good. And, but I heard Colin Cowherd speak about this, and I was like, I think that's it. Because ever since I really start leaning towards my conservative values and trying to stay away from, political correctness and the wokeness and the blue pill and leaning more into the red pill, I start thinking, oh, America doesn't like the NBA because the NBA is not patriotic. The NBA doesn't have the same values as the people who won this last election. They're not going to spend their hard-earned money on it. Not when you have a large part of the NBA players supporting liberal politics and being Democrats. Supported Kamala Harris outwardly. Like they didn't do the Michael Jordan and say, hey, Republicans wear sneakers too. They just outwardly came out. I remember Steph Curry came out on the Jumbotron during the Olympics and said, I support Kamala Harris. LeBron James calling Donald Trump a bum. Coach Pop, Steve Kerr, Mark Cuban, everybody is just coming out against the Republicans' conservative values, Donald Trump. And the people that would normally buy tickets or get the NBA package and buy apparel, they said, nah, to hell with it. And Adam Silver, when I said earlier that he's letting the inmates run the asylum, he just does whatever the players want to do. If they want to wear Black Lives Matter shirts or I Can't Breathe shirts or anything that's kind of only talking to one side of the nation, as opposed to saying, guys, we are killing our product. I'm with you. I'll support you any way I can. But we are killing our product by marketing our liberal values, by being one-sided in our social commentary, by being one-sided in talking about social justice. We're killing our product. And we do have cities out there that have 2, 3, 4 million people that it really doesn't look like the product's not being supported, which is why TNT and the networks will show games in Los Angeles and Chicago and New York and Philadelphia and Washington, because they'll still fill the arena even if only a small percentage of people watch the product. But there are small markets too. Charlotte, San Antonio, right? Milwaukee. Those cities, if you lose a large segment of that population, you're going to have empty seats. So listen to what Colin Cowherd said. This is really important because it really struck a chord with me when I heard it.
Roger Goodell has navigated a multitude of cultural changes. That CTE issue, that was bad and overlooked for a long time by a previous commissioner or two. And here he's made the PAT interesting. He tinkers, he evolves. And the NBA, meanwhile, ratings are down 48% in the last 12 years, and they have fallen off a cliff this year. And Adam Silver's solution is let's make the courts brighter. And I like the NBA, but the All-Star game is now embarrassing, and I think load management is a shame on the league. It is a really bad look for a family of four to go to a game and Giannis doesn't play or Embiid doesn't play. I'm sorry. Go ask the Democrats. Be warned, once you detach from regular people in America, you will pay a price.
Once you detach from the regular people in America, you will pay a price. Those are huge, huge words. What did the electoral map tell you? When you saw red across the country on the map, when you saw the Senate, the House, the presidency, the Electoral College, how would you market your product if you cared about making money? Because the NBA is a business. It's not a social statement. It's a business. So if you were running a business, if you were the commissioner of a business and you saw that electoral map and you want those people who voted for Donald Trump in your seats, how would you market your product? You have to ask yourself that question. And would you allow one of your preeminent coaches, one of your legacy and legendary coaches, I think Gregg Popovich has 5 championship rings. Would you let him talk like this without putting him in check? Or does he have that much power that he can tell you, Commissioner, go sit down, I got this? You allow Steve Kerr to say whatever he wants about the President of the United States, and you don't put him in check. You let the face of your league, LeBron James, say whatever he wants about the President of the United States, and you don't say, LeBron, this is not good for the NBA. It's not good for our game. It's not good for our product. And it's certainly not good for you. Hence why you will never have the amount of fans that Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal had across the league. But I guess if you're already a billionaire, you don't really care. But what did you leave behind?
Ratings have dropped a staggering 48% since 2012. And
28% this year alone.
And this year, 28% alone. TNT games average 1.8 million viewers, while ESPN ratings down 28% from last year, sitting at 1.77 million. By the way, Adam Silver, message for you. This falls on you.
Yep.
You know why? You know when Adam Silver became the commissioner? I looked it up last night, 2014. David Stern was a great commissioner. A great commissioner. Under David Stern, we watched the game. Under you, you're okay with a owner talking like this, with a coach talking like this? You're not going to call him and have a conversation saying, hey, what are we doing? By the way, Adam Silver, who are your customers? I'm curious. Who are Roger Goodell's customers? Who are Rob Manfred's customers? NBA that's passed you up as a product. MLB that's passed you up as a product. Who are Roger Goodell's customers? You got the fans, and who else? Owners. Do you think other owners are sitting there celebrating the way Popovich speaks about half of their customers that are coming to the store to buy something? You think Pop speaking like that in San Antonio affects, a Houston team, affects a Miami team, affects a Clippers team, affects everybody else? It affects everybody.
And he's right. That was Patrick Bet David from the Valuetainment podcast. Really good podcast. But what he was talking about Gregg Popovich, who was talking about Donald Trump prior to the election. And it was just so unprofessional. It was demeaning. It was demeaning to a lot of the supporters of Donald Trump. He alienated half the nation. And for someone who you should respect and revere and admire, like a Gregg Popovich, I mean, he's in that rarefied air like Phil Jackson. But he'll never be Phil Jackson because of the way he speaks politically. Steve Kerr should be in that rarefied air of Phil Jackson, but he will never get there because Steve Kerr is open politically and he alienates half the country and they don't want to watch the product. Here's Gregg Popovich.
He's small.
He's talking about Trump.
He's a whiner. We all know that.
Rob, it's too loud.
But you wouldn't have him babysit your kids. You wouldn't hire him if you had a small business. You want that man in your business? There's no way. But you're going to vote for him for president? Because he's strong? I mean, Kamala Harris whipped his ass in the debate. Just obviously. And he's running ever since. He doesn't want any part of her. Because as she said before, she's eaten many of his type for lunch as an attorney general,
actually
as a
believes
prosecutor. He's a small fry compared to some of the people she's gone after. And he knows it. So all he can do is cut people down, and do what he does. We've all seen all that kind of stuff. The ones that you can be even more angry about, because he's sick. He's a damaged man. He grew up the biggest wannabe there ever was in New York, right? We all know that. He wanted to be in the inner circle, but they laughed at him his whole life. Just like Obama made fun of him at that dinner, and he was about to melt. Yeah. That angered him so bad, it was scary. But he was never accepted. He was treated like a fool, like a clown. And now he's able to just give the finger to the world because of his position now. And that's what he's doing. He's getting back at everything.
So, yeah, a leader in a prominent league. This is not Little League. This is not Pop Warner. This is not some secondary USFL league or some offside. This is not some offshoot. This is the NBA. And you have a leader in the NBA talking like that. And Commissioner Silver won't pull him in the office and go, "Hey, Pop, I need to speak to you." So if that's going to be the way it goes, then you're going to watch your ratings drop. And it's so unfortunate because I really like the NBA, but I haven't watched a game this year. And I actually started to say it after the whole George Floyd thing. And I started to see all the markings on the floor and the shirts and the holding hands and in unity and all that. And I don't really think a lot of people had the whole story about George Floyd. All they saw was that another black man was choked out by the police, another "I can't breathe" issue, and never gained or gathered the facts about the situation. And I don't want to talk about that right now. I'm just saying that it's so easy to trigger a group of people to do something that does not benefit their product. That actually hinders them from making more money. You might say money doesn't matter, but this is a business. So, yeah, that's all I really got to say about that. It's very, 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 very unfortunate. So I want to move on to something I happen to be passing by, and a video, Charleston White. I like Charleston White. I like what he has to say, but he's kind of vulgar. He uses the N-word way too much for my taste. But the way he thinks is how I think, how I want better for Black people. I want us to advance and progress. I want more Black empowerment. I want to see more educated Black people. I want to see more Black people using critical thinking when it comes to politics and economics and social issues. And I'd like to see more Black people not just support and vote for people just because they're Black. I want to see less idolization of criminals. And when you don't support that criminal, they say, you're not Black, or you're an Uncle Tom, or why are you always bringing down the Black man? I want to see more Black people that are patriotic, that support our military, that support the United States flag, that support law enforcement, helping law enforcement police our communities, keeping crime off the street. And Charleston White said something in this little video I'm going to show you that I think white Americans are very, very simple. And I'll talk more about that after you view this video. Check it out.
Black people, do we have any allies? Do we have a race that fucks?
White people.
Bro, shut the fuck up, bro.
If you're a patriotic Black person, a white person will be your best friend. If you're patriotic. If you're a patriotic Black person, white people will be your best friend. You see that? Ku Klux Klan sent me that from Stone Mountain, Georgia. You think I'm bullshit? The Ku Klux Klan sent me that. Look at that address.
Wow. Y'all, this is real. I can't put it on camera.
No, look at that address. Where'd that come from? The headquarters.
Memorial Drive.
The motherfucking headquarters.
Conservative. Wow. How they find you?
They've been putting my address online forever. They sent that to the main house.
Did you ever go to the main house?
Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, it is so simple that if you are a patriot, if you support America, and you recognize and acknowledge what America is, what she's done for us and all people of America, what America does for us on a daily basis, white people will be your allies. And I'm sure, I know a lot of you don't like to hear me say that. You don't like to hear Charleston White say that. You don't like to hear Jason Whitlock say that. You don't like to hear Candace Owens or Officer Tatum say these things. Senator Donalds. You don't want to hear it. But if a white person is racist, they could be racist. We all got a little bit of bigotry in us. We have some preconceived and learned ideas about people that we were born with in our DNA, whether we heard our parents talk about it or grandparents. But I guarantee you, if a guy says, I don't like Black people, but then they hear you say, I love America and I support America, they do a double take and go, I don't like Black people, but you're all right. We can have a beer anytime. That's why, if you watch the CMAs, the Country Music Awards, that's why it's sprinkled with Black people, or that's why they allow certain Black people into that fold of country music, because they said he's a patriot. I don't care what color he is. He loves America. He dons the flag. He supports our military. And that is not pandering to white. I see it all the time. I do a lot of TikToks about supporting America, about supporting our law enforcement. And I'll get hundreds of comments from white people say, I agree with you, brother. I'm with you, brother. You're a great guy, man. You're a good dude. Now, that stuff doesn't pump up my chest because my message isn't for them. But they do say they're an ally. They're an ally. And they're with me. So the guy asked Charleston White, as a race, what group of people do you think are allies? Now, what he was talking about, I want to put it in context, because he was talking about Hispanics, Asians, other groups of people. And he said, who's our biggest ally? And he said, white people. And the guy laughed his ass off. Because he couldn't believe that Charleston White believes that white people are black people's greatest allies. And he was like, man, if you're a patriot, white Americans love you because you have their same values. I just thought that was extremely interesting. But on my page, I'll just use it 100. If I get 100 comments, I would say 75 to 80% of them are white people in support of my post. And the other 20 to 25% are black people that want to drag me down, call me coon and Uncle Tom and sell out and you hate yourself, you self-hating black man. I'm just a patriot. All right, so before we get out of here, I want to talk about the movie 6888. Now, I got to set this up. Because if I don't set it up, you're going to go away thinking, oh, here we go again, bringing down something else that the black man's doing. You hate yourself. You hate black people. That's not what it is at all. So I'm going to read 6888. During World War II, 855 women joined the fight to fix the 3-year backlog of undelivered mail. And they were faced with discrimination in a country devastated by war. And they managed to sort more than 17 million pieces of mail ahead of time. And I laughed. I laughed again because this movie is going to be applauded. It's going to get a lot of accolades because the one thing we do really, really, really well as black people in Hollywood is we talk about our pain. We talk about how bad we've been treated in America. We talk about history, but during segregation and Jim Crow and slavery. And the movies with the highest honors are movies like Hidden Figures, about the women who worked for NASA and how they were mistreated and how the girl had to walk a mile to the bathroom. Movies like The Help or Men of Honor with Cuba Gooding Jr., 12 Years a Slave, Harriet Tubman, 42 about Jackie Robinson, Remember the Titans. All of these movies are during the civil rights movement or prior to the civil rights movement, and there was so much black pain, and we love movies about how bad we were treated in America. And it's as if nothing's good has ever happened to black people in America. So I don't want to poo-poo the movie. I do love the cast. I mean, it has Kerry Washington in it. I think Oprah Winfrey's, and I love Kerry Washington. Oprah Winfrey's in it, and a whole cast of people that's going to make you leave that theater going, that was a great movie. But I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm tired of watching movies about the abused, oppressed, downtrodden, beat up Black America. I looked up, I just Googled it, 23 Black leaders who are shaping, this ain't history from the past. 23 Black leaders who are shaping history today. And it starts off with Kamala Harris. First Black, first South Asian American, first woman vice president. How about a nice movie story about her life? Rosalind Brewer, Walgreens' next CEO and only Black woman to currently lead a Fortune 500 firm. Dr. Kizmikia Corbett, I'm saying your name right, 35 years old, lead scientist on the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine team. Victor Glover, 44 years old, first Black astronaut to live and work at the International Space Station for an extended stay. Amanda Gorman, 22-year-old youngest inaugural poet in U.S. history. Raphael Warnock, Georgia's first Black senator. Rashida Jones, 39 years old, MSNBC president and first Black executive to run a major television news network. Sandra Lindsay, 52 years old, first American to get the COVID-19 vaccine outside of the trials. Nicholas Johnson, 23, Princeton's first Black valedictorian. Cynthia Marshall, 61 years old, first Black woman CEO in the NBA. Cori Bush, 44 years old, Missouri's first Black congresswoman. Alicia Davis, first Black woman named to Amazon's senior team, the inner circle that advises Jeff Bezos. Noah Harris, the first Black man to be a student body president at Harvard. Melody Hobson, first Black woman to serve as chair of the Starbucks board. Sydney Barber, U.S. Naval Academy's first Black female brigade commander, 21 years old. Jesse Collins, first Black executive producer of the Super Bowl halftime show. Nia DaCosta, first Black woman to direct a Marvel film. Aja Evans, first Black woman to run a self-driving car company. Jason Wright, first Black president of the NFL. Dana Kennedy, first Black person to head a major publishing imprint. Bazoma St. John, Netflix chief marketing officer and first Black C-suite executive at the company. Dick Camara and Ermias Tedeschi, I'm sorry if I said that wrong, co-founder of the Black Gen Capital, Cornell University first Black investment fund. Is any of that more important than how mail got delivered in World War II? I'm not poo-pooing it. But what the movie is really going to set up for you, like when you watch movies like The Butler, it really wants to control your emotions. It wants to zoom in on how bad Blacks were treated, how bad the Tuskegee Airmen were treated. It is no wonder that our generation today hates white people, because that's all Hollywood and the media shows them is y'all been treated so bad. You got people like Oprah Winfrey in the movie. She was also in The Butler. And The Butler was a fictional movie. They talked about this Black butler. It was based on a true story, but about this guy who had been the butler in the White House for all these different presidents. But it was a butler. And I just read you off a list of Black prominent people that exist today that you could actually reach out to and have a conversation with them and say, hey, man, you're a C-suite executive at Netflix or whatever. I'd love to do a movie about that or write a book about that, or that would be an amazing story. The best things I liked about the movie Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith is because the guy was still alive. And the movie talked very little about how bad he was beaten down by white folks. So you guys go ahead, Why it's 688. I'm going to take a pass on it. I'm sure I'll hear great things about it. And I know it's going to be a really good movie because it has some really good actors in it. But I just don't want any part of it. I'd rather listen to a podcast from one of those Black achievers that I just talked about. I'd rather listen to their podcast for 2 hours to talk about how they got where they were, how they studied day and night and worked at Starbucks during the day and went to college at night and took extra classes and had 4 or 5 jobs and overcame adversity to get where they are. All right, so that's all I got, guys. Tell me what you think in the comments. Once again, hey, Merry Christmas. Today is Christmas. You're doing a podcast on Christmas? Yeah. Eat well, drink well, family, sleep. And this is a good time for me to do my podcast. So Merry Christmas. Have a happy holiday. Have a great new year. And I'll talk to you guys on the other side.